What happens, and thanks for the call, Tony, what happens if Jimmy has his best season of his career? Like, what happens then? Like, in 2019, he threw for over 3,900 yards with 27 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. What if he's 4,030 and 10? What then? What do the 49ers do at that point? Are they offering him a new contract? Is there a reality where Trey begins next year as Jimmy Garoppolo's backup quarterback once again?
I think anything is possible. I mean, do you honestly think that, I think a lot of it depends on how deep they go. If he puts up those numbers and they get knocked out in the first round, I could see them moving on, just going, well, here, we built up your resume. Now somebody will be sure to trade for you.
Well, I mean,
Or, if they have a deep run and they actually threaten to get to the big one, then they've got another decision to make, and maybe that decision ends up being, through no fault of your own, Trey, you can't fit here. And then you move on to the next thing. Because everybody has always pinned this trade as a sort of modified death sentence. Where, well, they gave up all this capital, they have to do this. They don't have to do anything. Because there's always another draft, and there's always another quarterback out there. And even if you never get those 3 draft picks back, you make do.
Right.
Because every team makes do.
If Trey Lance, and I don't think he lives in this house yet, but if he does live on, 1, 2, 3, 4 bad investment lane, there's only one right time to get out of a bad investment, and that's today. And it really doesn't care. It doesn't matter how much money you left in the middle of the table. It doesn't matter. The best time to get out of a bad investment is right now, once you've identified it as a bad investment. So, yeah, the world turns. But I wonder if it wouldn't turn so funny where Jimmy Garoppolo was turned into another 3-4 year contract and we're right back to where we belong, and or not to where we belong, but where we started here. And at that point, you got to turn around to Kyle Shanahan and say, well, why weren't you just a little bit more patient? Like, and I really do think I have the reason. Like, why did Kyle want to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo? I got the reason. It's because he has never outperformed the quarterback that he's played against in a playoff game. The opposing quarterback has always finished that playoff game with a better quarterbacking rating. And Jimmy Garoppolo's got a fourth quarter playoff game's quarterback rating of 28. You get a 39.6 for just spiking the football. So spiking the football has been a better option for the Niners than Jimmy Garoppolo has been in playoff game fourth quarters. And I think that is what Kyle Shanahan looked at more than anything else. Because look, Jimmy in the regular season gets the job done. Look at his record. It speaks for itself. Look at the record of success that he has in the regular season. Wins like 70% of his games. That's a deal you would make with the devil to have a level of success like that. So why would you walk away from that successful of a deal? Well, yeah, sure, it has a little bit to do with ability to be available. And maybe it has a little bit to do with, it was hard to reach in the offseason, but I really don't think it does at all. It's pure playoff performance that made Kyle walk away. That's it. That's it. And specifically, it's fourth quarter playoff performance. Because that's the ultimate, all right, it's time to be a quarterback. And that's when Jimmy's played his worst football of his career, which goes back to what Tim Kuhn said. Tim said, Jimmy was oddly comfortable in this backup role. And he might have even embraced it. There's a lot of pressure on the main stage at Lollapalooza, but on the side stage, there's less pressure. You're still playing at a concert. You still got a lot of people watching you. You're still part of the act, still part of the show. But the main spotlight isn't on you at all times, just like leaving blisters on your skin. It's so hot.
See, and I think that fourth quarter, I'm not buying it because the two games they've lost in the postseason in 19 and 21 were defensive failures at the end.
You're right, but guess what? You don't need to worry about your defensive failure sinking you if you continue to score.
That said, the Super Bowl Kansas City had a ball the entire fourth quarter. The entire fourth quarter. They did what they wanted with. They scored three touchdowns.
Because Jimmy was Johnny 3 and out.
Okay, but at some point, the defense you've built has to be able to get a stop. You can't give up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You can't.
I would agree with you there. I'm not arguing.
And the other thing is...
But here's the thing. You don't have a chance to score 3 touchdowns in a fourth quarter if you got an offense that's moving the ball, burning clock, and scoring points.
Okay, but I still don't buy the idea that that's what convinced Kyle Shanahan, I got to move on from this guy. Because those 2 games were not about Garoppolo failures. They didn't turn the ball over a ton of times. What they did was not stop anybody. And that's because the secondary could be picked on, and was. And the fact that they haven't fully fixed that yet, or at least haven't fixed it yet to where we know it's fixed.
It's gotten better.
We'll see. I mean, let's see them when they play the Rams.
Right.
Because I don't think Denver's going to offer much of a threat there either.
And Chicago, nor Geno Smith-led Seahawks represent scary level passing attack.
Yeah. So I'm jury's still out for that for me. But I think it's just that he was tired of doing playing against 8 in the box. You know what? How do we fix that? We can get the ball down the field deeper. And that's why I like Trey Lance. Well, what else can he do? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, they haven't figured it out.
Somebody said, look, Damon, the defense gave up 2 3rd and 17s. You're right. They did. Richard Sherman got burnt in that fourth quarter. He hits that pass to Emmanuel Sanders. He's got a big shiny ring today. I mean, yes, I understand that the defense gives up the 10-point leads and Jimmy's not on the field when that's happening. But Jimmy was on the field when the 49ers were, a parade of 3 and outs and not scoring the football. So, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but look at it this way. Kyle Shanahan never said, all right, then, I need to have a corner drafted in the first round. I need to go ahead and fix my secondary. That's my biggest problem. No cornerback got cut. Well, tell that to Jason Verrett. But no cornerback was moved on from. Jimmy got moved on from.
Well, again, I think we found out over the last 3 years that Kyle Shanahan is not the infallible genius that everybody's been giving him credit for. There are a few things that he does as well as any coach in the game. But there are also things that he tends to fixate on and fixate against. The fact that he hasn't fixed the offensive line, the fact that the secondary is still a huge question mark, after 3 years of this, suggests to me that he's got blind spots too, especially as a general manager.
And look, I've been saying that maybe removing some responsibilities from Kyle could be a better thing for this team than leaving those Kyle's responsibilities. But I got some good news. Right now, the 49ers have the closest thing they've had to a shutdown corner in a long time in Mooney Ward. They've also got what is the NFL's highest rated safety tandem in the league right now. If Talanoa Hufanga, who is the second highest graded safety through Pro Football Focus right now, if he keeps on playing like this, he's Jamal Adams, everyone. He's the second coming of Troy Polamalu if he keeps on playing like this. So, did Kyle address his secondary? He may have. That offensive line that you're saying, and rightfully so, because they were unproven. We don't know. They told us it was a weak spot. Center guard is not the fatal flaw of this team yet. As a matter of fact, Spencer Burford has been fantastic, and he is the highest rated 49er offensive lineman right now. Aaron Banks is playing well. So, maybe they did.
Maybe they did.
Biggest problems.
And I'm perfectly willing to allow for that, but I'm playing the schedule game early, which is who have you played? Who's threatened you? Neither of those teams did. They lost to a Lake, and they beat the hell out of a bad Seattle team.
But again, on the way to a Super Bowl, you were unimpressed with every single regular season moment.
No, there were games when they beat legitimate teams. The win in New Orleans was an eye-opener.
And that's the thing. Isn't that the only really regular season Jimmy Garoppolo's signature moment?
Yeah. But, do you need a signature moment from your quarterback in all situations? I mean, Kyle Shanahan has been trying to, thread this needle with different kinds of thread. And he's going to have to do it again.